Thanks very much. Hi, everyone. From confidence to empathy and now trust. So I want to ask you a very important question. Do you trust me? I'm searching your eyes for recognition of yes, no, maybe. Do you trust me not to lie to you as I'm speaking to you right now? Do you trust me not to steal from you? If I sidle up to you later and your bag's open, do you trust that I won't take anything out of your bag? Now, I hope the answer is yes. And in part, it's because I've been endorsed by an organization. I'm standing in a safe space. And the trust has been given to me because I'm part of something. So let me try this again. Thinking about people that are in institutions, that have been endorsed, that are in safe spaces. If you were walking home this evening and a police car pulled up next to you and the police officer said, "Get in, there's danger ahead," would you trust the police officer? Would you get in? If a politician was standing in front of you and said, "I will make the country better, I will solve all of your problems," would you trust that if you placed that vote, change would occur? And finally, if a qualified journalist said, "Climate change is not real," would you trust the next thing they said? The reason I use those three organizations is because researchers showed that over time, our trust in some of the foundations of our society have absolutely been eroded. But what I believe, and I'm sort of slightly quietly obsessed with the idea of trust, is that trust is the first portal, the first gateway to us building a more equitable, diverse, inclusive society where we actually get the things that we want. And we don't think about trust on a day-to-day basis. It's almost a sort of hidden compact, but it's so real. As an aside, for anyone that's been to Copenhagen, you'll have noticed a level of trust in that society that you possibly could never imagine here. You walk into a coffee shop, you order your coffee, you sit down, well, get a slice of cake as well. You sit down, and you look outside, and you see two things: bikes and babies, not attached to anything. And I don't mean like the crime bikes. I mean literally my personal bike, not chained to anything. Pull up, leave it be. And whack my baby beside the bike as well. Have my tea, have my coffee, have my cake, because the level of trust is such that no one's taking my bike and no one's taking my baby. Now, the first time I saw this, I was like, why are there so many prams? It very neatly lines up, by the way, but why are there so many prams with babies outside? And my friend said, well, that's just what we do here. The idea that someone would take a baby or take a bike, it's just unheard of. We trust each other in this society. And it got me thinking, that invisible compact is so not invisible that you can do something as poignant as leave your baby outside the place that you are sitting, eating, speaking to other people. And so if I bring that to where we are now, and what it takes to rebuild trust, I want to use an example of my day-to-day. I became the became the CEO of an organization, a business called Baloo, on the 2nd of March 2020. Now, Baloo is a B2B drinks business. B2B, 2nd of March 2020. You can imagine what happened to this business 3 weeks after me taking over. it basically flatlined. It didn't exist. I went from running an organization that was successful, that was giving WaterAid 100% of its net profits, which at that point was £1 million a year, to not knowing if that business would exist. And I had zero trust with the team. They didn't know me. I'd met them once on the 3rd of March. And 3 weeks later, I was telling them that they had to trust me. I was telling them that they had to trust that I would enable this business to thrive so that they still had a job. I would enable Baloo to still exist so that we could change the way that people think about the drinks industry. I had to tell my board that I would keep this business that, when I took over, was really successful. I had to tell them to trust me, that I would enable Baloo to still be there in the next 10 years. But I had no basis for trust. And so I created a very simple framework, 4 Ps: purpose, people, product, and profit. And the idea was that if we created a purpose for Baloo, a new purpose for Baloo, and built every aspect of our business to align to that purpose, the second pillar being people, aligning people internally and externally to that purpose, and then created amazing products and services, the profit would return again. And it was a very simple idea that was never written down, I just articulated it, that gave people a reason to go, okay, I'm going to give her a bit of my trust. I'm going to do the things that we collectively are talking about, and I'm going to do them well, because in order to build trust, I was giving them something of myself, and they were giving me something of themselves. And it took us a couple of years, but we got back to a place where we built the profitability of Baloo. And we did much of that without ever seeing each other in person. And that's what happens in society. You trust people that you've never met. You trust people that you've never seen physically because of this invisible compact, this invisible trust compact that's just there. And it's unwritten. You rarely see these things, but you know they're there. But we all have a role to play in the trust compact, because sometimes we have to acknowledge that there is one. Well, I think all the time we should acknowledge there is one. But ask the questions and say, well, what is it? What is it that you are doing that will enable me to trust you? Show me some action. One of the actions that I took at Baloo was to make my COO my co-CEO. The sort of thing that a new CEO just wouldn't do. Why would I walk into a business, I've been appointed as the CEO, and go, oh, do you know what? I'm just going to share it. Yeah, come on. I'll give you all of this power. But for me, the power of trust was that I trusted myself as a CEO. I trusted that if I shared the power in the business, Baloo would go further, faster together. And Charlotte, who is my co-CEO, pre me joining, didn't believe that we could be the sorts of CEOs that we are. Her version of what it meant to lead was very different. It was very alpha. It was very masculine. It was very aggressive. And it wasn't true to her. So she said, actually, she doesn't want to be a CEO. And what I shared with her was a totally different way of doing things, primarily based on shine theory. You shine, I shine, you shine. And we went on this journey of talking about it together. And she could see she was trusting me because I was giving her something. Remember, she didn't know me. She interviewed me. But other than that, we'd met once. And online, we built this trust compact. The most important part of the trust journey for Charlotte was that she also trusted herself, that she wouldn't become a megalomaniac and obviously try and kill me and take all of the power for herself. And that's the final point that I want to leave you with. Do you trust yourselves? Do you trust yourself when the biscuit's just there? Do you have just one more? I do. But do you trust yourself to see an invisible trust compact and to ask the sorts of questions that Jessie was talking about and have the confidence to take 2 steps forward and explore what someone's telling you and your level of trust in what they are saying, so that we can get back to a society where if I say, this is what I'm going to do for you, you know that I'm going to do it. So that if a police car pulls up next to you, you can get in because there is danger ahead. You don't take your chances. That if you place a vote, you trust that your vote counts, that it matters, not just for you, but for others. Do you trust yourself? Thank you.